Have you noticed that life just has ebbs and flows, ups and downs, and sometimes you're feeling really good and then other times you could be feeling low, and often it can be dependent on what is outside of yourself and all that happens in your outside world. So what if you could get to a place where you are able to be more regulated inside, so then the outside world isn't going to activate you as much? So here's my book. You've probably seen it around. It's called Inner Wealth, From Pain to Purpose. And I want to share a little bit in this book because I've had an amazing opportunity come to me this week. Now, the Helen of old would just get so excited, and the adrenaline would kick in. But so I'd have an extreme high. And if you have an extreme high, your body's constantly wanting you to come into balance. So you are going to come down from that. And when you are a type A personality and you're just everything's firing and you're full on, and you might be able to relate to this, do you find yourself going up and down a lot? Great on some level, but on other levels, it can be really, really exhausting. I work with really high achieving people who are constantly talking about being in this like yo-yo or roller coaster. So sometimes we just need to pause and learn a different way. And I just want to share something from my book, which I think is quite appropriate. So, determined to make my healing a priority, I decided to take a bold step from the daily grind and head off on a retreat. It wasn't just about getting away. It was about diving deep into a space where I could truly focus on myself, away from the noise and pressures of everyday life. And I found a retreat nestled in a tranquil cabin by a peaceful stream, the perfect spot to unwind and reconnect with myself. And for a whole week, I gave myself to fully surrender to this. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because I've always known that I was going to recreate retreats. Always knew. Now, what I wrote in this book was quite a few years ago when I took myself away, and I've been to a number of retreats. But I suppose the question I want to ask you is, what if you could do anything you wanted to do? That thing that drives you, that creates that passion, that power, that purpose inside. If you could do that, what would that be? Now, for me, it is retreats. I've always known I want to create a real healing space. And particularly for couples are really burnt out and worn out, and to be able to create a space where they can drop into that, where they can reconnect emotionally. I'm definitely on point doing my purpose and my mission. So coming back to you, if you are exhausted, if you are burnt out, if you're sort of wondering, what the hell am I meant to be doing? It's about actually just stopping, checking in, slowing down, keep coming back to, what do I want? And it's having that awareness. And look, I can hear some of you going, oh, it's all well and good, Helen. I've got a mortgage, I've got kids, I've got work, I've got my business, I've got my parents. I do get it. But what happens, these cogs, you just keep going and going and going, and you'll start going through the burnout cycle. I've gone through it. I write about it in this book. So it's really, really important to slow down and ask yourself quality questions. If you're going through a big change at the moment, whether it could be, I don't know whether I want to be in the relationship I'm in. You might have been with this person for 15 years, or it could be 5 years in. I don't know if I want to have children with my partner. I don't know if I want to stay in this line of career that I'm in. I really want to be doing this over here, so I'm not sure. Or it could be you want to relocate, you want to travel. I mean, there's just so many different things that you could be hitting up against. And often we try and figure it out, like what am I meant to be doing? So the key is to bring in awareness. And with awareness, you've got to have a level of self-compassion. Now, as humans, we have a negative bias. We want to beat ourselves up. We want to compare ourselves to others. We want to give ourselves a hard time. What I've discovered with myself and I've worked with, I was going to say hundreds of thousands. No, I haven't. It'd have to be about 11 or 12,000 people, is that when you can activate that inner power source inside of you, that inner passion, it's an energy inside of you that you cannot manufacture with your brain. It's something that you embody deep inside your body. But when you are overthinking, when you are worrying, when you are in anxiety, none of that is going to be able to come through. So how can you start slowing down? Where in your day could you create a little bit of space to stop, to just check in? How am I going? How am I feeling? What's here? I work with, I have at the moment a number of people with grief. Now, it's really, really hard to activate that purpose-driven life with passion when grief is here. And that actually is what this book is about. It is a book of grief and how to move that grief so that then you are better aligned to be able to work with your passion and your purpose. So you've got to start with wherever you are at. It is perfect. But what is something that I can begin tomorrow that will bring in more self-compassion for myself? What is something that can bring in some mindfulness? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to journal? Do I need to perhaps talk more honestly to my partner and come from the heart-centered place? There's no wrong or right with this. When you want to activate that inner wealth inside of yourself, it's an energy, but to have that, you've got to be in balance. Your nervous system has to be calm so that you don't trigger that fight or flight or freeze, which then means you're going to react. So on that note, what is one action step that you can do that is in alignment with your values, with your goals, and coming from a place of awareness and coming from a place of acceptance of this is exactly where I'm at right now and it's perfect. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I'd love to hear from you in the show notes. Let me know what is one action step that you're going to do in the direction of really connecting in with your passion and your purpose. See ya.